If you are already a pro and know how to commit all the files to the main branch and sync them up to GitHub, you can just do that and skip to the next video. If you're unfamiliar with Git and Visual Studio Code and GitHub, there's a few things that we're going to do very frequently, so make sure you make note of this because I'm going to do them very quickly throughout the rest of the other training videos. Let's take a look at what's going on in Visual Studio Code right now. We have the folder open that we cloned from GitHub. Inside that folder was originally just the readme.md file. As we created the Jekyll site, more folders and files got created. You'll also notice that some of these have files in them, and that's represented with these dots over on the right. There's also some files at the root folder that have some letters next to them. You might see various letters next to these files. When you look down in the bottom left at the main branch, you can see there's an asterisk there. And that asterisk is telling us we've made changes to our code, but we've not committed them to the main branch. Consider this the equivalent to opening up a file on your local computer, making edits to that file, but not pressing the save button yet. When you press that save button on that document you're editing, you are committing your changes to that file. And that's exactly how GitHub works. We're going to commit these files to the main branch so that we know that they're part of our base code. Visual Studio provides us a very simple way to look at all of the files that need to be committed to our code. And that's with this little Git icon here, this forked icon. Now you can see it says 3000 plus next to it. I'm going to click on this icon, and this brings us to the source control pane in Visual Studio Code. Here are all of the files that were created in all those different folders. I'm not going to go through them all, but what we do need to do is let Visual Studio Code know that we are okay with those and we want to put them into the main branch. So I'm going to come up here to the message area, and I'm just going to type something that will remind me why I committed these files. And so I'll just type in installed Jekyll. And when I'm happy with that message, I'll come up here to the little checkbox and I'll choose commit. Now, because there are over 3,000 files, it may take a few minutes to commit all these changes. You may encounter a little Visual Studio quirk, and I'm just going to explain that right now. We have 0 changes, which is great. We see that the main does not have an asterisk next to it, and we don't see some little clock timer sitting next to the source control icon. But if we go up to the Explorer, which is the top left icon up here on the left, you may or may not see some folders or files that are still showing that they need to be committed. Well, that's probably just a false positive. So just above the files, you'll see this little refresh icon. You can just refresh that, and that should go away. If you still see it, quit Visual Studio and go back in, and everything should look fine. As we make all of our changes on our local computer, we decide when or if we're going to put code back up onto GitHub. There's no automated process that automatically pushes this up to GitHub. Now, if we take a look down here at the bottom of Visual Studio Code, you can see that there's 0 down and 1 up. What does that mean? That means that no changes have been made on GitHub since you last updated your code. But we do have 1 change locally that should be uploaded to GitHub, hence the up arrow. And you can see this little sync icon here. Now, if I click on this, it will say this action will push and pull commits from the origin main. And what that's basically saying is it's going to make sure that this main branch is synchronized between GitHub and Git. I'm going to click the OK button. After a few minutes, everything will sync, and we'll just see this little sync icon, but there's no up and down arrows. Let's go to GitHub and make sure that our code is there. I signed into GitHub, and I'm looking at all of my repositories. I'm going to select that repo that we were just working on and make sure the files and folders exist. And indeed they do. And I know that right away just because there was only a README file there before. The reason for why we're syncing with GitHub will become a lot more apparent as we move through this training series. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more like this, please like, comment, and click the bell to support my channel.